Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy, episode 516 for the week of September 13th, 2021. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who's here this week?
Brock Sager.
And Kevin filling the Charlie slot.
What happened to Charlie? Oh, he was on the other week. Oh, Charlie, we'll get you in back more. That's fine.
I talk to Charlie all the time, and so it's weird that I don't hear him talk to him on here.
Well, I talk to him pretty regularly, and
so he's around in the world. The listeners shouldn't worry about him.
No, he's good. He's good.
Yeah.
He's been busy. Yeah, it's fine. Everyone's busy. Podcast time. It's late. Gonna do this little podcast thing. We got some stuff to talk about this week in the wonderful world of comic books. I'm gonna start with some behind the counter nerdy stuff first, though.
Ooh, fancy!
This is the first week of comic book stores placing our final orders for Marvel Comics single issues through Penguin Random House. Now, this is as deep as we're going to ever get into a conversation on the retailer end of what goes on. But it is, I mean, this is notable, last year and change ago, DC Comics left Diamond Comics, which at the time was really the only comic distributor in North America for single issue comics. And that's in the shockwaves of the industry. It's 25 years, right, that they had been with them. I was not nearly as surprised when we heard Marvel was leaving Diamond Comics, although, my issues with them have been minimal for all intents and purposes.
Okay, when you say minimal, you mean they're pretty much normal, so you just expect it. And
Lunar, okay, we'll get into it. We'll get into it in a second. The big thing was that Marvel, so they still have comics coming out through Diamond. If you're a comic store and you want to get your Marvel comics from Diamond, you still can. It's just they're sub-distributing, which means you don't get as good of a discount, so the store doesn't get as much of a wholesale discount, which for some people is going to be significant. So most stores I expect will stick with Diamond. We'll stick with Penguin Random House. So what we now have is DC Comics is through Lunar distribution and only Lunar distribution. Marvel is through Penguin Random House primarily and secondarily distributed through Diamond Comics. And most other single issue publishers are through Diamond Comics exclusively, although there are a handful like Scout and Ahoy Comics, and Z2 is a new one that went through Lunar. So some smaller publishers. So this now means comic stores are more than likely getting 3 shipments from 3 separate companies now every week for their comics. And that's just single issues. That doesn't include graphic novels, which you can get from Diamond and Lunar and Penguin Random House and Ingram and Baker and Taylor and multiple other venues if you want. So there's a lot of options for graphic novels. So this is our first time really doing a single issue order through Penguin, which means we are now not getting the majority of our comics from Diamond Comics. The majority are coming from other places, and that's man. You'd asked me 2 years ago that it would change this quickly. I would have said no way in hell. No, it would take something massive, but it did. It took the pandemic and it took Diamond stopping distribution, and these guys got they broke their contract, so companies got to get out. If you're a comic store, I've heard mixed things from people all over the country at different shops. For us personally, our shipments from Lunar are flawless.
They're amazing.
Every week.
They're amazing.
Yeah, almost every week.
I was like, I didn't know comics could be shipped so well from a distributor.
Yeah, now I hear from stores that have problems constantly. We have not had that. Early on there was 1 or 2 little things, but nothing major. The bigger problems were from FedEx and delivery to the West Coast just wasn't very feasible. We switched to UPS. The cost is more, but we get the book significantly faster, so it's totally worth it. Yeah, our DC shipments are perfect every week. Any problem we've had has been minor, and it's at this point,
Wait, don't we get Lunar through FedEx?
we used to. We get through UPS now. It's been UPS the last 4 or 5 weeks. That's
Oh,
why
okay.
we're getting it on fucking Wednesday.
Oh, I haven't been there. I haven't been there, so it's like for me, it's like
yeah.
okay.
So the way we are scheduled to get them on Thursday for release the following Wednesday.
Yeah.
First of all, that's
or Tuesday because they want.
but we're a Wednesday. We do everything on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But yes, technically we could release them on Tuesday. Diamond we received Tuesday for Wednesday, right? So we get nearly a week to process the DC shipment. It's incredible, and it ships and it shows up flawlessly every week.
Mhm.
So when I say I've had little problem with Diamond, it's little. It just felt like it wasn't that much. But then when I look at what happens from Lunar, it is clear how many problems we have with Diamond.
Yeah.
And you think, okay, they did step it up. It really hasn't changed. Maybe some things have gotten better, but overall, it's no different. Right? Nothing has significantly changed. My concern with Penguin Random House, again, as someone who's been getting graphic novels from them for a long time, is their packing. Diamond has improved their packing pretty well. Damages from shipments, at least the way we receive them, is almost zero now from Diamond, which is a great improvement. But they're still missing stuff. We still get too much overstock. We were short like $800 in omnibuses last week. Like, that's just inexcusable. Massive problems. And I don't even know if we're getting replacements on any of that stuff just because of how short full stock is on that. Penguin, I think I've had one overage once in like the 2 years we've been using them. But shipping is bad because they just throw shit in a box. Now, we've heard the comic books are going to be packed very differently through a new warehouse they've opened with all new staff. I'll believe it when I see it because this first week has some big books. Immortal Hulk 50, Amazing Spider-Man 75.
Yeah.
Those are big titles. That's going to be the first batch of stuff that we're getting.
That's in 3
Penguin.
weeks or 4?
3, yeah. First week of October. I think some of the books we ordered was also for the second week. I think because there's a couple that were, kind of some of the bigger books are moved around. But yeah, it's if you're a customer and you go to your store every week and you're like, man, the books always look like shit. What's going on? It's not your store. More than likely, it's not your store. It's shipping. It's problems with Diamond. It's bad packing. It's bad shipping.
Well, it's also like they don't catch things that come off. Like if the printer prints something funny and it comes out all dirty, they don't care. They just throw it in a box. They don't care at all.
Yeah, of course. I know. For a while, when DC was having trouble with their printer, they were having bad printing problems. Lunar's not gonna not pull a book because it's got a bad printer. They're like, oh, we need 20. Grab 20, put it in the box. Like they're not looking at damages or they're not looking at condition of anything. But when Diamond's putting a Mother of Madness #1, 1 in 500 signed edition by Amelia Clark just in a box with everything else, it gets trashed. Like that is fucking excusable.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if I know I had a lot to say to Image. I'm sure I was far from the only one. But I talked with my rep at Image a couple times about King Spawn #1, which was the signed Todd McFarlane book we got that like, can you get CGC involved? Can we get this shipped direct? And sure enough, both of those things happened. I don't know that it was me. I'm sure I was one of 1,000 people that told them this, but they made that change. Boom Studios is making some changes with their House of Slaughter.
Yeah.
Yep. They made some changes where they're going to direct ship the high-end exclusive covers because I wouldn't trust Diamond to do that either. So yeah, a couple of weeks. It's going to be real interesting. We're going to get multiple shipments from multiple places on multiple days. Comic Hub has been great. Stu and the team over there has worked his ass off to get as much done as possible for this. We don't have everything. That's a Penguin problem. They just haven't got everything set up. We just don't have the data we need to properly do the back end. Bookstores and comic stores just run so vastly different.
Bookstores like to put an extra label on the book that already has a
Well, they do that. Yeah. I think Penguin was just unaware of things like final order cutoff, FOC, just are not things that they're used to.
Yeah.
They're like, what do you mean you guys place an order and then you place an adjustment to that order? It's like the concept of the initial order catalog is basically gone, right? Marvel and DC don't really do it anymore. So it's over. If they don't do it, what's the point? Penguin does not do initial orders. You can order, you can't drop, you can't adjust, you can't drop it. You can only add. You can only adjust up. So yeah, I mean, there's some. It's going to be a couple of weeks, but hopefully, but they seem like they're learning. Comic Cub is, again, the stores I saw on the retailer forums that were taking hours and hours and hours to do FOC. It took me 45 minutes to do Marvel, maybe an hour. There was a couple little things. I had a couple little glitches, not glitches, just things that aren't done yet. But it's for the first week, it's fine. It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I was like talking behind the counter stuff. They're just, it's.
We need a
big change for, our side of the counter. For the customers, hopefully nothing changes. Hopefully this should all be seamless for everyone.
You know what you should do? We should get an OnlyFans account for the store, and you just open up the boxes and just show people look at all this unboxing of comics.
You're more than welcome to do that, Brock. Go for it. follow at Brock Sager on OnlyFans.
Brock's basement.
So it's we'll see. I don't know where Diamond is in 12 months.
You were talking about like the pandemic and all that stuff, and remember the sticker that came on all the boxes saying our comeback will be bigger than our setback.
Oh,
and it was like,
boy, what a yeesh.
I was just like, I
mean, I know what they were trying, but boy, yeah, they just couldn't have. That was just maybe the worst. We literally got a book the other day, like a couple of weeks ago, that still had one of those tags on it. That's how late that book was. It was supposed to have shipped in May or June or whatever of 2020, and we just got it finally. So yeah, it's their setbacks were just beginning. Let's put it that way. And I feel bad because I don't hate Diamond. I don't hate the people that work there. I've had pretty good working relationships. I'm not super close to them or anything like that, but I've talked with some of the higher up reps and Dave Hawksworth was our regional rep for years and years before he passed away.
Amazing. That guy
he was such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Loved the industry, loved all comics, huge fan of indie graphic novels and small press stuff and international stuff and really helped move that stuff.
What I always liked, because I actually hung out with him at one of the Image Expos. When you sent me up to one, and he's just a really nice guy. But it was always funny because whenever he came down, he would just talk shop and just talk and talk and talk, and it was this great thing. And then you go, okay, I have to give you the spiel, so let me just get through it.
Yeah. No, he was a totally
right?
he was a super nice guy. Loved to hear what everyone was saying. I haven't had as much interaction with our new rep, but that's all because it's all been during COVID. So they haven't really come out during the shops or anything. But. I don't know what that's going to be like in the next year or two, but I have no ill will towards Diamond. I just don't know. Marvel and DC are 80% of their monthly base.
Yep.
In my DC, my orders haven't. I mean, man, we've just been so busy. I haven't actually our numbers are actually flat. They're maybe even up over what they were before DC left, but that's just because we're getting so much more product.
Yeah.
God, my order this week, it was bigger than what we've done for an entire month before. It was those two. DC was decent. There wasn't anything massive from DC, but they had a bunch of those Batman one shots, and there was a few specials.
Yeah. The Fear State stuff, there's a bunch of stuff coming out with Fear State, and there's a lot of Bat titles coming out in the next few months, and you're just
Marvel had just 12 or 13 omnibuses or something crazy that were getting a couple copies each. House of Slaughter We had multiple people get the high tier incentives, so we're getting. This is going to be one of those weeks you may have to pick up the shipment, Brock. It's going to be disgusting.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's absolutely madness.
I have the sick time and
so
and they don't appreciate me, so I don't mind. Like, I don't feel good. Bye. Mental health day. Bye.
So first order week from Penguin. We'll see how that ships. First week of October. Let's see if it's a total nightmare or if we actually get stuff and everything's okay. We'll find out.
I am hopeful. It did seem like Penguin Random House did reach out to retailers and want to know, like, especially with the transition. At least I think that's what you had told me before. Like, there was at least,
Yeah. Well, I think they had some idea what they were getting into, but not quite enough. They were, I think they had to make a lot of internal changes, and it's going to be, but they've been open to it is what I've heard. I've had talks with my rep, and he says like, yep, a lot of the stuff's getting worked on. We have stuff we still need to add, but they had to kind of do some overhaul on the back end. And but it's coming. So it's not like they're just like, F off, it's our way or the highway. Like, no, they're super receptive to it. Is what it sounds like.
That's like the complete opposite of Diamond. Good. That's good.
Diamond's fine. They make changes. Things like FOC came from Diamond. Those are things inputted. With Diamond. One of the big things Diamond apparently, again, I have no confirmation on this other than one publisher mentioning it on one of the retailer forums, but Diamond has pulled back their dropping returnability for multiple cover books. They had a policy that they put in place that if you had, I think, 3 or more covers, you couldn't offer returnability on that comic, which killed.
Oh yeah, no, that's
returns for Dynamite and Boom and Image, and they've apparently pulled that. So that's great because they must have seen orders get just chopped in half or quarter. I mean, these books are, I was like, not returnable? I don't know. I'll order 10. I have no clue. Oh, it's returnable? I'll order 50, right?
Yep.
It's like just common sense.
Well, it's like it's kind of there's this weird middle ground now where it's, you're not ordering a lot and then stripping covers and getting credit like the old days, right? You're more just ordering kind of what you want to sell versus just ordering in general.
Yeah, and it takes things like that Mother of Madness where we get screwed in the variant cover and everything like that. Like, oh, sorry guys, I'm returning like 400 of those things. I like that book just did not sell very well. I mean, it sold fine, but it didn't sell as well as it would have. So it's I think some stores probably take advantage of it, but I think more stores are selling more products because of returnability. Penguin does returns, but not on graphic novels as far as Marvel, and not on the Marvel singles. So DC still does returns on some number ones. So, but nothing for Diamond. Or sorry, nothing for Marvel. We got a couple things to talk about. I want to get to some of these, and we'll have more to say about Penguin in the coming weeks. I mentioned Immortal Hulk earlier. I don't know if you guys saw this news, but after I would say plenty of opportunities.
Chances, yes.
And after a very public outing by Al Ewing, Marvel has broken ties with Joe Bennett, their artist on Immortal Hulk, and removed him from some upcoming projects. Al Ewing took to Twitter and made a statement saying that he was not going to work with his Immortal Hulk partner, who Joe Bennett's been drawing the book forever. I think the whole thing, right? Bennett has come under fire a couple times about some comments he's made. in a quote unquote accidental anti-Semitic message in the background of one of the comics of Immortal Hulk, and then now a sort of unearthed 2017 political cartoon, which is let's just say not a good one. You can go poke around and find it if you want. Not the type of thing you should be drawing if you're working for a major company. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, racist and anti-Semitic, and transphobic and homophobic comments he's made in the past has basically finally reached a boiling point, and Marvel will no longer be working with him, which is good. It's good that Marvel's taking the stand. It's frustrating that it took so long after numerous
cancel culture.
Yeah. Again, it's not cancel culture. It's consequence culture.
Yeah.
Consequences for your actions.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, don't be a racist douchebag. Don't be an anti-Semite. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Feels like this should have happened a while ago. But hey, I guess I'm sure you're going to see a Joe Bennett variant cover on the next reprint of Ethan Van Sciver vs. Cyber Frog. Reprinted the same artwork over and over again. I'm sure
he'll probably have a cover on Dynamite or start doing Dynamite books, right? Like, because
I think Dynamite learned their lesson. I was getting involved with any of those guys again. If you want to see the sad list of has-beens that are
Indiegogo is going to have a new creator on it, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Let's talk about some artists we like a lot better. This came from Brian Hitch.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, go ahead. No,
Jim Lee's putting out the collection of all of the sketches for COVID in a nice oversized hardcover that donations are going to go to.
I will not. This was not on the list, but you mentioned Jim Lee. I will get to that because I saw this today.
The X-Men?
Huh?
The X-Men?
The X-Men, yeah. Jim Lee. I'm not sure who's...
It's a private auction, so I don't know if it's run through Hakes or Heritage or...
Yeah, I'm not sure who's auctioning it off, but it's there's a private auction, so it's not going to be it's not public. It's not going to be like something on eBay or something like that. Yeah. There's a private auction for Jim Lee's X-Men covers for X-Men #1. He has all 4 of them.
Oh, wow.
So he's auctioning that off. The estimate is like 3.6 million or higher, which should be the record for
original art,
comic book art. Yes. There was the Frank Frazetta. Was it a Death Dealer page? Is it Death Dealer cover? What was the Frazetta one?
Oh, that sold for
that was like 3.4 million or something like that.
Yeah.
I have to look it up, but it was a Frazetta piece. I thought it was Death Dealer. I can't remember what it was.
Did you see the Peanuts strip? Like this is not in the stratosphere of the Jim Lee prices, but there was a Peanut strip, a 1966 Peanut strip broke a world record for strip art, not comic art.
Yeah, was this recent or?
Yeah, okay. Like in the past maybe 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, I didn't see this.
$360K at Heritage for a Peanut strip. It's a Sunday, so it's
bigger and color,
quote unquote bigger.
Yeah,
so you get 3 rows of panel instead of just one. But that's the 360K is the new record.
I saw Peanut strips. They used to go for nothing.
Yeah,
I mean, comparatively, right? You'd see them regularly.
Well, so there was one in, I want to say August, a daily, just a strip that sold for 80.
Yeah, its prices are going way up.
So it looks like Frank Frazetta's Death Dealer sold for 1.7 million back in 2018.
I think there was something else. I think it was I thought it was another Frazetta piece. I thought something broke the 3 million, but I think the estimate I saw was 3.6 million for this. Now technically it's 4 pieces, it's 4 pages, but it is one piece of art, right? It is.
I bet you that thing goes for over 5.
I have no idea, right? Original art's out of control, and
but to have that complete, it's not just one plate of that. To have all 4, it's easily over 5 million.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I mean, We'll find out. We'll find out what it goes for. Yeah, I have no clue. But it's pretty incredible.
Unless if it's private, if the buyer doesn't want the price released.
Yeah.
But come on, do the world a favor, buddy. Let us all you don't have to say who you are, but at least let the price out.
Well, Brian Hitch, out of nowhere, he was talking on Twitter about upcoming work he has, and this has not had been, there were rumors that Mark Waid was going to be doing some work for DC, but nothing had been announced. But Brian Hitch on Twitter said he's working on some upcoming stuff, blah, blah, blah. And one of them is a Superman Black Label book with Mark Waid, inked by Kevin Nolan. That's a pretty amazing group of people right there. Mark Waid back at DC for an actual, not just like a backup story or something, like a full original story. Inked by Kevin Nolan. I just don't know enough. Has Brian Hitch ever been inked by Kevin Nolan? That seems like a really big deal.
I have no idea.
That's a tough pull. If somebody knew that off the top of their head,
yeah.
I can't think of when it would have been.
I don't normally see Kevin Nolan inking people these days, so that's a big project. I just don't think he doesn't seem like one of those artists that's going to be doing like interior work on any sort of regular basis, but maybe he's like, oh, I can ink. And so that's cool. That's amazing. Yeah. So no,
Black Label, Mark Waid. Yeah, I'm in.
3-issue DC Prestige Plus format is 46 pages per book, which is that's a chunky book. That's double sized, oversized and double sized issue. So
beefy. It's going to be a beefy masterpiece of adultness.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, the good thing about Black Label, they don't have to be adult, but they can.
What we're going to get?
A little bit more mature.
You know what we're going to get?
What are we going to get?
We're going to get Kal-El Wang.
Oh, I would think
there's no way.
Of all people on Earth,
there's no way.
On all people on Earth, I think Mark Waid would be probably the last person to do that, unless it was a Superman, the motion picture homage to the opening scene.
Oh, yeah.
Which where he crashes on Earth again. I'm not saying that's not possible, but that's the only case you're going to see. You're going to see that.
I think the Waid and Hitch team. What didn't they do that JLA Heaven's Ladder, that Treasury book? Yeah,
that's
okay,
big oversized one.
Yeah,
yep. And last comic story before we move on to some movie and TV stuff here. Kevin, you mentioned Heritage, and
somebody else mentioned 3.6 million.
Yeah. Maybe that's where I got that number for.
I think that's where you got the number because it's kind of ridiculous.
No. That Jim Lee. I saw. Oh, hold on. I actually got the Jim Lee thing.
We're doing internet research as we speak, people.
Wait, what's the Heritage? Is this the Heritage story?
Oh no, I'll get there.
Okay.
There. Oh, sorry. Frank Frazetta's cover to Eerie sold for $5.4 million.
Oh, it's the Eerie cover.
But that's magazine. That's a magazine cover. And
the Jim Lee is going to be over 5. Come on.
It could.
Well, it could if.
So the Death Dealer sold for like 1.8 or something like that.
The Death Dealer sold for 1.7 back in.
1.7. Okay. Well, maybe this is where I got the 3.6 million. But anyway, I had 3.6 million in my head for some reason. Before we get into this, a little
just get into it and everything will come out.
A copy of Amazing Fantasy 15.
Yes, okay.
Has sold at Heritage Auction for $3.6 million. This is the highest known grade.
It's a 9.
It's a 9.6 CGC 9.6.
But there's only 4 of them.
Is there 4 at that grade?
Yeah, there's like 4 at that grade.
Okay. So,
and the last one sold.
Couple things here.
2011, I believe.
Yeah. The last highest auction for a comic book was Action Comics #1, clear 25 years, 30, 61, 30, 40, 20, 22 years early, 20-something years early. I could do math.
No, you can't.
Action Comics #1 sold for $3.25 million.
And that was the 8.5?
I believe so. I can look. That is and I believe that is still the
highest.
That's still the highest grade as far as I know.
Yeah.
The previous highest copy of Amazing Fantasy 15 was a 9.4 copy.
Oh, 9.4. Okay.
That sold for $795,000.
But I thought there was a one in 2011 that sold for 9.6.
No, nothing in 2011 would have sold for those prices. There may have been a copy that sold in 2011, but it wouldn't have sold for that price. Nowhere close. Not in 2011.
No, because I was reading an article that talked about that's the last one that was sold at that grade. Because there's four of them.
The previous highest selling copy.
Yeah.
Highest money was a 9.4 that sold for $795,000. So there could have been a 9.6 that sold in 2011, but it sold for less than $795,000. At least that's what I'm seeing here in the articles I've been reading. So that sounds amazing. Except Heritage Auction has come under a little bit of fire recently in their dealings with WATA, W-A-T-A, WATA. It's a video game grading company, much like CGC, how they deal with comic books. I'm not going to get to the whole thing. You can search Heritage WATA, and you'll get the whole story. But the implication is that people at Heritage and people at WATA have been working in unison with each other. To people from Heritage are involved with WATA in some fashion. They are grading their own products to then sell, which is a massive conflict of interest. And if you follow any of the video game stuff, copies of Super Mario Brothers selling for million plus dollars, copies of Mario 64, and a copy of Super Mario Brothers broke that record. The belief is that these are not real sales. These are the people at
inflated.
WATA and the people at Heritage have been buying up stock, grading their own material, and selling their own material to themselves to boost the video game market, so more people will submit to WATA, so more people will sell on Heritage. This is the accusation, right? I obviously have no idea if it's true. It's been some reporting out there. There's a couple of really good YouTube videos that really go into depth of the relationship of these people and previous problems Heritage has had in the past in market manipulation of coins specifically. So I think a lot of stuff on Heritage is real. I think the majority of their sales, I think a lot of them are normal people putting stuff up and normal people selling stuff. This one feels off. Yes, it's Spider-Man. Yes, it's a 9.6. But there are just more copies of this book around. It is a more recent book. That increase in price just feels too much. The problem with the video game sales were there were these like couple sales on Heritage that were so out of whack with any public auction. So anything on eBay, anything on other auction sites, anything a store had sold and made public. These were all private sellers, private buyers. Nobody knows who's doing it. I want to see a copy of this book in the wild sell for this price or anywhere near it. It just doesn't feel right.
Well,
there's been a slow increase, and my assumption here, if you want to go, if you want to question the legitimacy of the sale, is I think you've seen the top end books kind of start to level out a little bit because they've gone up, but I think they have reached just the height of what they're going to sell for a while, right? They could boost up over time. They're always going to go up, but the jump here it just doesn't feel real. And if they're getting some heat and questioning about the video game stuff, you got to look at the comic side too. And when something is this out of whack, I don't know. It's something smells fishy with the sale. So I want to see a 9.4 go for, $1.5 million, $1.8 million. I want to see an Action Comics 1 go for, 405 and actually be a real sale and not a heritage thing, a real sale. Because I feel like this is too big of a jump. It just doesn't feel right. Spider-Man's amazing. He's obviously one of the most popular characters in the world. Top 3 of all time, right? At this point, hell, maybe top 1. Sales on Spider-Man figures and are unbelievable. Yeah. If you want to say Spider-Man's more popular than Batman or Superman, I'm not going to question that.
Well, I found a link from ICV2 that talked about from 2018 that talks about the previous sales.
Okay.
And it was the first appearance of Spider-Man. So Comic Link auction had it at a 9.0 that was bought at 415,000. Right. Yeah, and this was years and years ago.
Yeah.
It was over a decade ago. So that was probably in the late aughts. And then what they had was, then a copy of a 9.4 sold in 2016 for 454,000, including a buyer's premium, right? But there was a 9.6 copy that was sold in 2011 for 1.1 million in a private sale. That's where so I think that's where the 1.1 million comes from. Is it was a private sale, not a auction?
Yeah, and I mean. People can report that stuff. It's tough to know, right? Yeah. It's tough to know what exactly is going on with the sales. I can't find the article. Way out of whack and high. But
but I can't find the article. But the article I was reading on it that was talking about that 1.1 million said that even with how the market, tracking the comic market, that same book now would only be 1.5 million.
Yeah, it's not going to triple in price. Not at that price. Yeah. This would be like Action Comics selling for $9 million.
Yeah,
it's just not there, right? We're just not at that price. There is a slow, steady increase, and obviously a lot of this is investors selling to investors, and there's money to be made over time. But this jump just feels too high to me. I hate to say it, but you've got to kind of question some of these because what does Heritage do, right? They want to be, it's got to make the news. It wants to get out there. They want to get in the news. They want to have more people send stuff into grade. They want to see more high end stuff coming in. It's something just feels off. So let's see some because again with WADA, right? With the video game thing, you look at eBay, nothing sells anywhere close. Games in the same condition, graded. Now, people list them. No one buys them. No one comes close to buying any of them. No one's bidding on anything. No one's making offers on anything. The only things that are selling are, again, some stuff is selling the 5 figures. I think something sold 6 figures, but I mean nothing close.
Yeah. And the thing is, with WADA, it was because I looked up that video game stuff, and a Super Mario. It the same condition 6 months earlier only sold for 660,000.
Yeah,
and it sells in 6 months for 2 million. There's no
yeah. It's just, and even that 660. No, that's not. No one's paying anything close to that. No one real is paying anything close to that. Yeah, the video game thing is just pure market manipulation. So you've just got to kind of question the comics. So I don't know.
Don't get me wrong. It's a high grade. Like, I'll give it that.
9.6. Yeah. 9.6 is amazing. It's an absolutely beautiful copy. If
you're comparing it to Action Comics, I'm sorry, and it doesn't beat it. It's the Action Comics is one. It's a lot rarer. Two, Superman. People love Spider-Man, but Superman is just known, right? Like,
they pull like a 9.9 Amazing Fantasy 15 out, then yes, I think that deserves to be more than Superman. Action Comics, Detective 27, Amazing Fantasy 15. That's the order. I just don't see it going higher. I just don't. It's just too rare. The other two are just too rare. Mm-hmm. MCU, whatever. I just don't see it. We'll see. See what happens. We'll see what happens over the next couple of years with Heritage. We'll see what happens if these things kind of.
The sad thing is, like, if this is market manipulation and they are found out about it, it's like Heritage has been around how long? Like,
well, so look this up. They were caught for basically doing the same thing with coins back in the 80s, and they got in some pretty massive trouble. But they just settled out of court. So it's a question of, is this the same thing? Don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, look, you got your hand slapped, so you learned where not to push it, and now it's like you're trying to push it again. Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah.
But hey, are you going to join one of those groups that buys a share of a collectible?
Oh, fuck no! They all deserve to lose just fucking money hand over. And that's the same group of people, right? That are trying to bump up the video game market, that are trying to bump up the comic market. It's investment. It's not for what the product is.
Yeah.
And I hope they all just fucking lose their shirts. It's gross. It's just gross. We're gonna move on. I know Kevin's favorite part of this podcast. We're gonna talk about some video games for a second here. We're just talking about video games. Let's talk about video games a little bit more. It's actually a big week for video game news for comic books, right? Because it tends to not really be much to talk about. But this week, they did announce the Sony's kind of their PS5.
Sony made a bunch of announcements going, hey, when we finally have stock of PS5, you might actually have some games to play.
They're like, hey, we got some games coming in, like 2025 or whatever. And those two are Marvel Spider-Man 2 and Marvel's Wolverine. We knew Spider-Man 2 was coming. They were going to make a second Spider-Man game. This is all from Insomniac, who made Spider-Man and the Miles Morales game, which were both fantastic, by the way. So Spider-Man 2 is coming, and Peter and Miles are both in it, and of course, everyone that was complaining, why don't we have the black costume in the first game as like a costume we can use? Well, come on, guys. It's because you're getting Venom in the second game.
Like you get a second game, dumbasses.
Yeah. Like they're holding Venom out to the end. You know they are.
They got the second game is literally just a remake of Maximum Carnage, right? Like we're gonna get Toxin, we're gonna get Screech or whatever that chick's name is. Gonna get them all.
But so not only are we getting Spider-Man 2. I think they said 2023. I think they said 2023. Yeah, 2023, exclusive to PlayStation. We're also getting Wolverine. So we have nothing. Didn't show anything. We don't know anything about it. But they're going to do a Wolverine game. Same company, Insomniac, and again, Spider-Man's fantastic. So yeah, if they can do the same thing with Wolverine, a little more violent, a little more ability.
The Wolverine video game they had a few years ago wasn't horrible.
The one based on the movie?
Yeah, it was like I want to say it was Origins, but like the game wasn't actually bad.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I.
You mean you didn't play it?
I didn't play it, but I But yeah.
Yeah, I played a little bit of it. My brother played it. It wasn't horrible. It was like, okay, this is a Wolverine game, but
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get more news on the Gotham Knights and the Justice League versus Suicide Squad game, or Squad versus the Justice League game with DC Fandom.
And that's October. That's coming up pretty soon, actually.
Well, we got Doom Patrol season 3 coming up in like 10 days.
Stargirl's on so much.
I gave up on the CW show. It makes my life a whole lot easier.
I was talking to Kevin about this before we started recording. I'm already 2 episodes back on What If. Yeah.
Hey, so are we going to talk about the most wonderful time of the year, bro?
We'll get to that.
To be clear, Ryan, when you said it's my favorite part of the show, I don't dislike video games. I just refuse to have one in my house. It's my last stand of willpower because I know I would not get anything else done. So I'll happily go to anyone else's house to play these games. They're just not coming to mine.
That's okay. That's okay.
I know myself.
Yes. It's good willpower. But we do have two TV things to talk about briefly. I guess we should actually say not a major part of the podcast, but Shang-Chi did have a kind of almost a record drop, not in a bad way, a record lack of drop for a second week. So kiss those Disney Premier Access, just gone, just nobody cares anymore. So I hope you're looking forward to watching.
When Mew starts taking people out left and right, I mean, there's only so much you can do. So it's the COVID Pokemon's just going to destroy us all. Like,
I just will interject this, and Ryan, I promise this will not exceed 1 minute. But as the person on this show, and Toby and Lane heard this story at the con, who has sat and read a 62-page Google Doc of collated COVID research. 62 pages, my friends, single-spaced. I read it all. Why? 2 places where there have been 0 traces of any kind of COVID outbreak. Mm-hmm. Crowded Tokyo subway cars where people are shoulder to shoulder. And number 2, movie theaters. 0 contact tracing for any outbreak back to those locations. And the reason is, according to the science, the reason is where you want to avoid is places where people are unmasked and exhaling in your direction. You want to be in places where people are not talking generally. If you're indoors, I mean.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So when we're putting a list of like deadly terrors, avoid your indoor aerobics class. A movie theater does not necessarily need a skull and crossbones on the door. That's all I'm saying. Okay. End.
No, hold on. I'm still stuck on you read 62 pages of a single-spaced medical document?
It might have been 1.5 space. Don't let me oversell.
I could have played a video game.
Yeah, you're right.
It had fun.
I
could have got that in 1 tweet. Come on, Kevin. What are you doing?
Oh, yeah, that's true. You're right. Yeah. Or a GIF, even better if I play the Ryan style.
You should have read the Wikipedia on there.
Yeah.
Dude, if it's longer than a TikTok, I'm just not paying attention. Okay.
Yep.
You have TikTok?
You know I do not. You know.
Shit, the store is going to get a TikTok now. You're going to make us do weird dances with books going, you should buy this book.
I would rather...
It'll all be to Joy Division music like the whole time.
You can guarantee that will literally never happen.
But circling back to the actual topic, despite everything we had to say, was that last week? God damn, that feels like 3 weeks ago. Despite everything we had to say, I am really glad that people are enjoying it. Mm-hmm. I think it's great that it found an audience, and I think that it's great that there's enough flavors in the Marvel kind of crayon box to satisfy a lot of different people who may not be super into Marvel on a normal sense.
Do you think the merchandise is going to hit at Christmas and just explode?
That's hard to know. It's like, would somebody who's interested in buying the disc be interested in having No,
I'm saying, because remember you were talking about all those like creatures and stuff that were in the movie. Like, you're like, I didn't know I was watching a movie that had like Pokemon in it.
Yeah, but I don't know if you'd want a stuffed 4-legged furry animal that has no face that just looks like an ass with legs on it and wings.
Shang-Chi and Eternals have the most boring Marvel Legends line of all time. It's like, who the fuck would buy these? Like Spider-Man? Yeah. Sure, that's huge. Like, I mean, this is not anything against the movies. They're not the depth of character. They're a bunch of people. They're a bunch of humans. Like,
people aren't beating down the doors for that Sprite figure.
It'd be like if there was like a Jessica Jones Netflix Marvel Legends wave. Again, that's not a common conversation.
You realize that they just found that in the warehouse because it was supposed to come out before COVID, and they're going to start shipping them out.
Like, I mean, you'd maybe sell her, but like,
you could sell a Purple Man, couldn't you?
Yeah, sure, okay, but that's what what I mean. Like, there's just like,
is it just are you building just a really big Nick Cage or Luke Cage? Like,
but everyone else is just like, it's just a person, and Eternals is like, who the fuck are these people? Can't wait for my Gilgamesh figure.
But see, Brock, the difference being, if I could get the comic book original Luke Cage as a figure, hell yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah,
Netflix Luke Cage is just a bouncer at a club.
Yeah.
Does he have a button on his chest when he presses it? It says "Sweet Christmas."
Oh, and it just has all his phrases: "Jive Turkey," "Sweet Christmas." Yeah. Oh, hell yeah! Come on, that would be incredible.
Before we talk about Hawkeye, I do want to briefly talk about Why the Last Man, which did come out today, has started with 3 episodes out the gate. And that's what I was saying about what if it's just too much. It's just too much. I don't have time to watch all this stuff.
Are you gonna cry right now?
Multiple shows on TV.
Is this the breaking of Higgins?
Like, when it was like, oh, we're getting like 2 Marvel movies a year, like a DC thing, and like Arrow. Oh man, look at all this stuff. Now it's an MCU thing every single week. Movie or TV show every single week, like 9 or 10 DC shows, 4 Marvel movies in a year, 2 or 3 DC movies in a year, multiple animated cartoons, 2 video games announced. Again, you'd be lucky if you have 1 video game like in a console cycle about a superhero that was worth buying, right?
So the Why Last Man, that's on Hulu, right?
So much, yeah, it's on Hulu.
Okay,
yeah, so they dropped the first 3 episodes today.
I'll watch it. Never.
Well, it could show up on FX. It could be free eventually.
Yeah, it starts on FX and then goes to Hulu.
No, it's only on Hulu.
But isn't it part of the FX on Hulu deal? It's Hulu exclusive.
Only that.
Oh, okay.
So I was under the impression that yes, I was on FX and then it was on Hulu. FX on Hulu is Hulu exclusive.
Oh,
it's FX shows that are exclusive to Hulu.
Oh, okay.
Is what I've been told. So yes, it's only on Hulu.
Did you watch it?
No, I haven't thought about shit. Especially on 3 episodes.
3 episodes today. Come on, you could
have to watch 3 episodes. You could have watched.
I don't have time to watch one. I will probably watch. I think me and Leanne decided after Titans wraps up, we'll watch it. Well, then we got Doom Patrol too. You watching Doom Patrol?
So have you had a scene in Titans yet that's your scene of the season?
Have we seen 4? I think. Yeah,
do you know? Literally, since you mentioned that show was coming back until right this second,
Doom Patrol.
No, Titans.
Oh, Titans. Yeah.
That's not been in my head for literally a half of a second of actual time until right now when he brought that up. I forgot once again, like 4 weeks ago we talked about it and I forgot it existed until right now.
It's got 2 more episodes?
I think it's got 1.
1?
I think there's 1 left.
It's just this week's?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Is that Wednesday or is that Friday?
Well, that's all the episodes that are listed. That's 8 episodes? No, maybe there's more. Maybe there's 10.
I don't know.
It doesn't say. It only lists through. I only see listings.
It will only list 8. Through like the amount it's played or potentially the one that's coming out.
Yeah, I only see listings through 8. But yeah, so I've only seen the first 4. Yeah, it's not through Blackfire. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's great. I really like it so far. But yeah, I just it's too much. It's too much.
Hey, Doom Patrol's 23rd, baby.
Yeah, I mean, so it's well, that could be it. If this again, I have no idea. I have no idea if this is the last episode. That's probably not. But it'd be weird if Titans and Doom Patrol overlap. You'd think they would want them to just boom, right into each other. Like Star Wars and Marvel have. But It's not saying anything negative about why. I really, really want to watch it. It has just too much stuff.
Yeah. On that note,
so let's talk about this
as we get to the trailer.
Yeah, we'll wrap on Hawkeye here.
I'll just say this one thing. You mentioned
the trailer finally dropped for Hawkeye.
Yeah, but to back up to this will segue to Hawkeye. I promise. Yeah. You mentioned What If, and I think I'm the only one here who's current on What If.
Yeah, I haven't even watched it.
Okay, so the fifth one came on, and it's the zombies. So by the time anybody hears this, there will probably be a new one. But we're speaking of the fifth one was the Marvel Zombies. Mm-hmm. I have not read Deceased. I haven't read Marvel Zombies. Like, I'd happily go the rest of my life and never see a zombie story again. I'm good. But
did you read World
so
War
when
Z?
I saw what it was, yeah, but that's what I mean, Brock. I've seen enough good zombie stories.
Okay.
The itch has been scratched. But anyway, that episode starts. I'm like, oh God, do I even want to watch this? Well, okay, I'll just watch it. It's 30 minutes. What the hell? And then at the end of the 30 minutes, I'm like, I could have literally done anything else with that time. Like, it was just
you could have brought a video game system into your house and played a video game for 30 minutes.
Could I have done something in 30 minutes? Because that would be a game changer if I could do like a level in 30 minutes. But anyway, at the end of that, it was just nothing. Like, I wasn't ever excited or moved or frightened or stirred.
Maybe that's what they wanted
you
to feel, was dead inside watching a zombie episode.
It worked.
Like my I think when we talked about the second episode, where I thought it was a lot better, it's still very soulless. My problem. Well, the first one was bad.
This show's good. It's just no soul. Like, it's good, but it's got no soul.
The first episode was outright bad. Second episode was like, oh, this was better. The problem with What If is What If worked in the comic books when they had, tens of thousands of stories they could sort of do something with. And clearly there's only a handful that are going to rise to the top. But you could What If anything. In the Marvel universe, in the MCU, there's been like 15 stories. So you're very limited in what you can do. And just having Black Panther's Star-Lord, like, that
was a fun episode.
Fine.
That was like more of a mashup than a What If.
But it's not a concept to build a show around, right? Yeah. I think the idea of What If is better than the opportunities we have. Now, if you're like, oh, we're going to have a What If show that is just What If of the comic. What if these wacky things happen and have nothing to do with the MCU? Sign me up. Like that.
But then the problem is most of the viewing audience doesn't know what the non-What If version.
Sure, of course. But that's what I mean. I think they're sort of caught in a place where they just don't have anything to really adapt that's worth adapting. Marvel's. I didn't watch Marvel Zombies episodes. So I don't know how they do it, but having Marvel Zombies, that's not a What If. That's just a story that happened from like an alternate reality thing. So like that. I mean, is that a What If?
What if Marvel
Zombies over here? Like,
not
really.
The worst form of criticism, which I think we try to avoid, is, well, this is how I would have done it. But I think that What If would have worked better as maybe like an anthology movie, an animated movie with maybe 3 stories in out, because it's just really hard to stretch out. I think how many are they doing? 8, 10, something like that.
Something in that range. Yeah.
And it's just, so I've seen 5. I liked 3. I liked 3 of the 5. The first episode was okay. I think I liked it better than you, Ryan. I thought it was fine, but I would never watch it again. And the zombie one was just like, Jesus, I could have just looked at a blank computer screen and saved my pixels and just meditated for 30 minutes. It was just nothing. Yeah. So which brings us to Hawkeye.
Yeah. Look, of all the shows, Hawkeye was one of the ones I was most excited for. I like the character of Hawkeye. I like the MCU Hawkeye. I like Jeremy Renner. I don't hate him the way a lot of people do. He's not my favorite. He's Hawkeye hasn't had a lot of room to stretch.
Well, It's because he's jumping out of windows and shooting arrows and then swinging down.
Yeah, he's been a very minor character in the MCU, but the comic book character Hawkeye, I love, right?
The asshole Hawkeye in the Avengers.
Yeah, well, and that's what I mean. Yeah. It's sad that they never really had him play with Iron Man and Captain America, and really, I mean, they did like a little bit, but not what you want, right? Like you want to see them like them
Disney.
getting
There's only so much dick you can be in Disney, okay?
Well,
there's no stabbing people in the dick with scissors. I'll tell you that much.
I'd like to see, you could have that could have been part of Civil War, right? You could have had them really go at it. I mean, again, Hawkeye's in it, but he's just sort of in the background for a lot of this stuff. I don't think Hawkeye's really had that that drag down blowout fight with argument with one of the Avengers. We'll ignore the bro in the room. Just don't even talk about that for a second. We'll talk about everything else.
Okay, but wait. On that topic, did you like the Fraction and David Aja Hawkeye run?
I never read past the first issue because I fucking hated it.
Okay, now that's interesting because I loved that run. I know what your issue was.
Yeah, I have
I love that run though. I think the art is so inventive and it was just so.
Oh, I love David Aja. He's amazing.
Just eye candy.
Yeah. Well, that came right after the Brubaker Fraction run on Iron Fist.
Right. He was on that too. Right?
Yeah. No, art's incredible. I just found Matt Fraction. I am extremely hit or miss with, and let's say miss and miss with. It is, Jimmy Olsen was incredible, but it fits that character. I find Matt Fraction's writing style does not work for most of the characters.
What, you didn't like Sex Criminals?
I never read Sex Criminals. Not really.
Oh, Sex Criminals, awesome.
Remember my huge problem with Iron Man?
Which one?
His run on Iron Man, like the end part of his run.
I don't remember.
I can't. It was something to do with like some weird tape.
I don't even remember his run of Iron Man at all.
Like the beginning part of it was really good, and then it just after issue 600, it just shit the bed.
I'm sure I read them, but I just don't remember. I know people can be like, "Oh, it's a DC thing, so you like it." Well, maybe that's part of it, but a lot of it has to do with his writing style fits that character. I was just not at all into Hawkeye. I have the bro thing just drove me absolutely fucking up the wall. And I was like, I just can't
broke you.
I can't read this. I hate this issue. I hated the first issue of Hawkeye. And Kate Spencer, whatever, give or take. I don't care. Yes, I understand. We're never Hawkeye's going to be gone. She's going to be Hawkeye forever.
You mean Kate Bishop?
Or Kate Bishop? Yeah, what is that? Kate Spencer.
Kate Spencer is go from having you just talk about DC. No, I like Marvel, and then you go.
We do need a Manhunter show, by the way.
Kate Spencer.
We do need a Manhunter show, by the way. Yeah, Kate Bishop, whatever. She's fine, whatever.
You didn't hear CW's dropping a Manhunter show after Stargirl? I'd
be the first in line.
No, you just said there's too much content you can't handle anymore.
I'd still watch it though. Yeah, I mean, I'm just I'm 100% aware that this is going to be the end of Hawkeye. Like Jeremy Renner will be out of the MCU after the show. Like, of course, right? That's just what they're doing.
Because we're setting up Young Avengers.
Yeah, they're transitioning all the characters out for the Young Avengers. Okay, that's fine. I'll get my thing. I thought the trailer was great. The description I used because Kevin only watched part of it. I was like, yeah, like Shane Black's Hawkeye, and it's like that's all you need to know. It's a Christmassy action movie, or Christmassy action TV show movie thing. I saw some people that were like, it's like Die Hard. And not a single thing like Die Hard. Like, have these people ever seen Die Hard?
No, it's the fact that it's Christmas time. It's an action thing, hence Die Hard.
Hence Shane Black.
Yeah,
right. That's
it's one of those.
But
things
it doesn't look like Die Hard at all. That's the problem.
Well, they're in a skyscraper at some point, so I'm half expecting some line to get dropped.
But Ryan, didn't I see those bros in the trailer?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure.
Bro.
While the word "bro" was not spoken, now this was my problem with the comic. I hated them. I hated those characters. I was like, if this is what the comic's about, I can't read this. I fucking hate this comic. I'm out. They blew up the van. Said something, bro. I don't know.
Trust me, bro, or something.
Trust a bro or whatever. Yeah. Okay, look. I know we're gonna get it. I know we're gonna get the bro thing. I know it's gonna be there.
Can you just do a reaction video? I just want you to record a reaction video.
Just take every facepalm gif, and that's my reaction video. I know it's coming. Maybe it won't be as
your
annoying.
Bro medicine, bro.
Maybe it won't be as annoying in video form,
bro.
I don't know.
Yes, it's gonna hurt.
The joke is funny. Yes, everyone keep telling me this, bro, this, bro, that. It's fine. The trailer looks good. I like Hawkeye. I'm going to watch it. I am just I'm gonna release the broless cut. Okay, just edit out all the bros, and then I'll happily watch it again. I'll put it on my Plex server. I'll mute it. I'm just gonna replace bro with something else. I don't know.
What if they replace bro with Joe?
I mean, it doesn't make any sense either, but that's fine. Like I will try the first episode. And if I am just like grinding my teeth through it,
well, because what I thought was funny was the font and like some of the title things they were using were the font from that Hawkeye run with like the circles and like all that.
Oh, it's 100%.
And it's like, and you're sitting there going, "Ooh, man! Like they're skirting the line here."
So no, not skirting the line. It is 100% the Fraction Aja run of Hawkeye. It's what it is.
I do hope
that's exactly what it's based on.
I do hope that we get maybe some flashback, like a little bit more of him, like his breakdown of him turning into Ronin. I mean, because we didn't get it that much.
Yeah, it just happened. Like, right? They don't really go into it.
And I think that the show, if the show could give just a little bit of that window, right? Mm-hmm. Like I think because remember with WandaVision, we actually got a little bit of why she was, like a freedom fighter terrorist, why she was on that side when we first saw her, right? Like we saw like where she came from as a child to where she was at the beginning or at the end of Winter Soldier when they showed the end credit scene. So it was nice to kind of see a little bit of that and kind of put the pieces together. I really wish they would do it in this for the Hawkeye to Ronin, so that like, I mean, we understand why he did it, but it's kind of just talked about. It's not really shown.
Yeah, no, it's really just it really doesn't make a lot of sense within the show. We don't really get into it at all, or in the movie.
Like in the movie, I can understand them not jumping into it, but if the show has the opportunity to kind of expand that a little bit, then hopefully they do.
Yeah. No, I think it looks great. I'm super excited. I'm excited. I'm as excited for this as any of the other MCU shows have been. I hope it's good. I have one particular thing that drives me crazy, and I didn't keep reading the comic because of it. And if it's one episode of the show and then that's kind of it, okay. But if it's just like nonstop, it's just annoying. It's just not funny.
Is this the most excited you've ever been for a live action adaptation of something you didn't like in its comics form?
I mean, maybe. I mean, I just didn't try it, right? Like I didn't go past the first book, so I have no idea the rest of it. But I
think that first story arc has a lot of that stuff in it. I don't think that carried through most of it, but
yeah.
I remember reading that first episode, and I'm like, or that first issue, and I'm just like, this is garbage. Like, I don't want to. Like
at the time, especially, my interest in Marvel was zero, and my interest in Young Avengers was zero, and my interest in Matt Fraction was zero. So like, it was a stretch anyway. I mean, I got it because of David Aja. Is not because of Fraction or what was going on. So yeah, that is a book that I was not going to be into almost regardless of what it was. But I was just like so put off by the first issue that I didn't keep going.
Now, speaking of, so I'm going to watch it. Ryan's going to watch it. Kevin, you're going to watch it, right?
Well, sure. I mean, I watched 1 minute of the trailer, so yes, I'll for sure watch the first episode. But you know what? I realized with the Marvel Zombies thing, and this is what I was getting at with Ryan not liking the series, the Hawkeye series, there's a freedom in saying, you know what? I don't have to watch everything. It's okay if some things just... So next time, if I found myself back in time last week and that What If episode was starting, and instead of me going, wow, I wasn't really interested in this as a comic, but let me just watch it, my future self would say to the past self, no, just stop. Like, don't force it. Just stop. It's okay to walk away.
Now, would you get violent with yourself if it came to it?
No, because the past self would listen, would know that if it was important enough to time travel back, to listen. And that's all I would tell him about the future.
It was that important to get back that 30 minutes of your time.
Yep. It's that critical. If I could make one stop in a time machine, that would have been it of my entire life history.
Now, speaking of fixing things, how do you think, did you guys watch the Matrix 4 trailer?
I am on absolute CIA black box lockdown on this. I've muted every word connected to that. I don't even want to see still pictures. And you know why? I'll tell you guys, beyond my normal spoiler phobia, I remember going to a screening in 1999 for The Matrix that no one knew anything about other than it was the directors who had made this movie called Bound, which is a really good film noir.
I love Bound.
But
wait,
that's all.
Where did you go see it?
I can't remember where the theater... It was in LA, I think, if I'm remembering right. But I can't remember. But anyway, all anybody knew, Keanu Reeves is in it.
Yep.
It's some kind of action-y movie.
Yep.
And it's by the people who made Bound. Nothing else.
Yep.
You want to talk about having almost literally your head blown off in a theater and just being like completely amazed. And people now take it for granted because there's been so many ripoffs. Oh, The Matrix, blah, blah. That was almost a religious experience to see that without knowing anything. And I've always chased that ever since then.
Now,
let's not talk about the sequels.
Now,
but I don't want to see anything about this movie. So nothing.
I had a similar experience to you with going into a screening, not knowing what it was, all that stuff, right? I walked out of the theater going, I hate that movie. I know it. I was like, I hate that movie. And people were like, what? I'm like, I hated it. Something about it rubbed me the wrong way. And then I was like, you know what? No, I need to go back and I need to rewatch it. And when I rewatched it, I was like, that's when my head got blown away. I was like, oh, like it was something about the movie that didn't fall into place the first time I watched it that made the whole thing kind of like, huh, and hard to follow for me. But like the second time I was like, nope, this is great. This is awesome. And then, like you said, the following movies in the animated thing are something we can not really.
I can't comment on the Animatrix. I've seen that once, so I don't feel qualified. But I rewatched the sequels again, like in the past year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch them before 4 comes out. But I remember distinctly really enjoying 2. But
it's funny. I had that memory as well. But
it memory. It asked so many questions, and I was like, oh, yes. And for our listeners that might not know, that movie was released in May of 2000. When was it? 2003, right? Can somebody help me out with the year?
Well, wait, but what's your larger point beyond the year?
So, because this goes into something with like the reason why
it's 2003 for the both of them.
Yeah, because they both came out in the same year. So May is when the second movie came out, and it was great and it asked so many questions. You're like, oh, what is it like? I'm super stoked. And then 6 months later, they released the third movie that doesn't answer any of the fucking questions they posed and just shit the bed as an ending to that trilogy at the time. And you're just like, what the fuck? And so it changes, like you said. I did enjoy it, but after watching the third one, the second one gets tainted.
Anyway, to answer your first question, no, I haven't seen the trailer for The Matrix.
Yeah.
Ryan, have you seen it?
Oh, yeah. I think I tweeted, like, you know, the list of science fiction movies in sort of my lifetime that have, you know, completely changed the world have been, or, you know, the world of like science fiction. It's like Star Wars, Akira, and The Matrix, right? Yeah. I mean, I think those are the three most like just world altering movies as far as like science fiction. Like, I don't think anything else comes close. Oh boy, I don't want to say anything for Kevin.
Oh my God, no.
Just take your headphones off for a second.
It's not 1999, Kevin.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And I'll tell you, I will. Okay, I have to tread very lightly.
I loved 1999. Okay, like 1999 and me are like, that's a year for me. Like that's I like 1999. It's not 1999 anymore. I just don't see any world in which this movie's anything. You know,
okay.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I hope it's fucking the craziest thing. When you watch it, you're like,
I have to tread very lightly on these next comments. So I know someone who has, I believe, read an early draft of this movie.
Okay.
I do not know that that's still the current draft.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really knows that. His comment, which I said I do not want any factual information about it all. So he gave me only an opinion comment, which was, people are either going to love this movie or despise it because it very specifically does not do the things that everyone loved the first time around. It is something completely different, and that's all that I know.
I like the responses that were John Wick's it's John Wick's coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure maybe there's a trailer of just full of the stuff that everybody loved the first time around, and then when you get in, the rug gets pulled out from. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know nothing. I don't want to know anything. When is it? December
22nd.
Sounds right.
Okay.
Right.
I think they're giving people like a little extra time to watch it for like the
HBO
month.
Max?
It's HBO Max, so I think they're giving people the holiday and then until the end of January. So,
all right, it's not the Matrix podcast. It's Comic Conspiracy.
You're
We're
right.
done.
What pill are you going to take, Ryan? No questions? We didn't have any questions?
Nah, we're good. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
This was a short episode he told me, Brock, before we started recording.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Thank you, everyone. If you're going to go see The Matrix, I'm sure we'll have a nice spoiler thread for it in our Facebook group, which you can join.
But even before that, you could have a spoiler thread for Hawkeye and for Titans and Doom Patrol. And
I don't even think we have a Titans
Eternals.
Thread. We'll get all sorts of that stuff. But thanks to our top tier backers, Joe Duff, Craig Anderson at clearpathcoaches.com, Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum Podcast, and Talon Bray. Thank you all very much for your support. Head over to comicconspiracypodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify for all our previous episodes. Kick us a couple bucks over at patreon.com/comicconspiracy. Or visit comicsconspiracy.biz if you would like to buy some comic books from us for pickup or mail order. Conspiratobrock.com. That's Brock's blog, video pull lists, unboxing videos, all over there. Wanders in the Fourth Dimension. That's Charlie's Doctor Who podcast. You can find him talking about the good old doctor. Kevin's got the weekly interview series called Between the Panels at fanbasepress.com. And my wife Leanne is over at leannehill.com. She has her artwork on Etsy at etsy.com/shop/LeanneHillArt. If you're on Twitter, you could follow all of us. Ryan Higgins Ryan is myself. Brock is Brock Sager. Toby is Toby XI. Charlie is Insanity in Chaos. Kevin is that Kevin Sharp, and the store is Comics Con Store. And Don't forget to check out Geekbox every other week, talking to my friends about some nerd stuff, and our good friends over at Manga Machinations, that podcast as well. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week.